time for the Ron and Brian podcast. Get ready to fill your ears with the latest news, politics, current events, and whatever else we feel like talking about this week. And now, your hosts, Ron and Brian.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. It's Sunday night. It is 8 o'clock. It is time for the Ron and Brian podcast, episode 183. Brian, how excited are you for this? How our things got flipped around here. There we go.
Yeah, can you flip that? I am not comfortable if I can't do it. I cannot do it. Everything is great, Ron. It was a magical week here in New York City. It was a time of just incredible memories. Listen, this is my favorite time of year. It's Thanksgiving. It's a time where families are thrust together, basically because the calendar says that's what you should be doing. I got to spend it with my family. I know you got to see yours, and it's just magical.
Yes, it is. And let's just get things going. Let's just dive right into it with Drink of the Week.
Drink of the Week.
Na zdrowie.
Salud.
Drink of the Week.
Sláinte.
Drink of the week. Drink of the week. Drink
Brian,
of the week. Drink of the week.
what are you drinking this week?
I'm going to butcher this.
Okay.
I don't know. Can you see this? This is a Canadian beer. All right. Are you ready? This is Tamor Forte. Tamor Forte from Lager Beer in Quebec, Canada. It's a sessioned Northeast IPA. Look at that color. Mm-hmm. It offers all the aromatic, visual, the taste qualities of a Northeast IPA with an alcohol content that allows you to have more than one. In terms of aroma, Ron, citrus and tropical hops are very present, just as they are on the palate, bursting with flavor despite its low alcohol content. Tamor Forte is the thirst-quenching beer par excellence for hop lovers, coming at a very low 4% ABV. I don't know why I'm wasting my time.
It's the French language just rolls off your tongue like no other.
It's like carbonated water. It's got some beer flavor to it, but it's really carbonated water. As we've said, I am working on emptying out the beer fridge, working it down, when I'll be coming in with an order of lagers and pilsners. Tap room, I'm on my way.
All right,
Ron, what do you got?
This week, so I'm staying local again. One of our local Philadelphia breweries, Yards Brewing Company, one of our better ones, has rolled out a new winter lager. This is Long John's. Of course, the Philadelphia term John, which can mean any damn thing you want. This is their winter lager, clocking in at a respectable 6%, using some dark hops and things of that nature. It is
That is dark.
Piece of firewood, but but that's good. That's got a nice, almost like a deep, rich caramel type flavor to it.
Ooh.
Very tasty.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little jealous. Because I'm a fan of Yards. I'm a fan of their products. Wish that I was in Philadelphia where I could sample some of their wares. Unfortunately, they don't ship to New York because what?
They don't, unfortunately. I don't know why that is.
We've looked into it. Oh,
We'll rotate
the nerve trying to sleep the other day. Just sore. Like from here down to there, it just feels sore.
Not so much here or here, but from here down to here hurts.
Yeah, it's like in the neck coming down, and then the shoulder's a little achy. So I must have slept on it awkwardly last night. Cheers to you, Ron. How are you doing?
I can't complain too much. I will momentarily when we get to beef of the week. But Brian, don't try and rush past racism, because that's right. It's time for This Week in Racism.
This
Week
in
Racism.
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 Somewhat of a light week again, but we do have a full page of racism for you to ponder and think about how you can be a better person out there. So let's get things started with National College Football analyst Brian Jones, who made some eye-raising comments when he stated that donors are pressuring University of Texas head coach Steve Sarkisian into making roster decisions based on race. Quote, I thought we were all in this to win, and there's no way you're going to win when you're asking or trying to dictate to your head coach who plays, and in some instances, it's crossing color lines, which is definitely unfortunate. UT athletic director Chris Del Conte has since called out Jones for lying, saying that's completely untrue. None of that's true. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. Absolutely absurd. Why would there be any racism in Texas, especially at a school whose school song is racist? Can't even picture it, Brian. Brian, can you picture it? I can't picture it.
I cannot picture it at all.
Police are investigating an incident involving a Texas high school student and a teacher where the student struck and shouted at a black teacher before making a phone call in front of classmates in which the student comments on the teacher's race. The incident occurred at Castleberry High School near Fort Worth, Texas. Video of the incident shows the student hitting the teacher on the arm, then grabbing a phone on the desk and saying, this teacher's about to get fucked up if she doesn't get the fuck away from me. You want to talk to her? She's black and she's pissing me off right now. The mother, Brittany Evans, told local media that her daughter is autistic, bipolar, and battles depression with anxious distress. As we all know, Ron and Brian is all elite, but this was not elite when AEW wrestler Austin Gunn came under fire this week when tweets he made in 2013 using the N-word resurfaced. To clarify, he did use it ending in an A, not ER, but he would later release a lengthy apology on his Twitter account. A woman at a school board meeting in Chandler County, Arizona, went on an unhinged rant against COVID-19 vaccines earlier this month, calling the vaccines a, quote, deadly poison that is being pushed by Jewish-controlled pharmaceutical companies. Melanie Rettler, a local veterinarian, said, let's get to the very bottom of it. Every one of these things, the deep state, the cabal, the swamp, the elite, you can't mention it, but I will. There is one race that owns all the pharmaceutical companies, and these vaccines aren't safe. They aren't effective, and they aren't free. You know that you're paying for it through the increase in gas prices, the increase in food prices. You're paying for this, and it's being taken from your money and given to these pharmaceutical companies. And if you want to bring race into it, it's the Jews. Now, Jews, that's a religion, not a race, correct?
It's definitely not a race. It is argued whether it is a culture, but it's definitely a religion.
All right. A U.S. district court sentenced a white former St. Louis police officer to prison after a jury convicted him of assaulting an undercover black detective during an anti-police violence protest in 2017. However, the judge gave the white cop a substantially shorter sentence than recommended by the prosecution. Dustin Boone, the ex-cop, was one of 5 white officers charged with the assault of Luther Hall. He will now serve a year and a day for his crime, substantially less than the 10 years that the state suggested and the 26 months that his own defense asked for. The Washington Black Lives Matter Alliance is calling for a civil rights probe into the Pierce County Sheriff's Department after a report from the department showed that its deputies are disproportionately using force against Black and Native American people. The report displays how Black people are 5.62 times more likely and Native American people are 2.31 times more likely to have force used against them by Pierce County deputies. The report found that Black children experience force between 7 and 13 times more often than white children. And finally, a grand jury indicted 6 deputies in Fulton County with felony murder for the 2018 death of Antonio May, who was an inmate at Fulton County Jail at the time of his death. According to the court document, he was repeatedly beaten and shocked with a taser. The 6 deputies are facing other charges, which include aggravated assault, battery, and violation of oath of office after the end of a probe that lasted 3 years. The deputies were identified in the indictment as Aaron Cook, Gaito de la Cruz, Omar Jackson, Jason Roach, Kenesha Strouder, and William Whitaker. And that, Brian, is this week in racism. That's it. Usually,
that's not that bad. That's not that bad.
Really.
Sorry.
Really?
Somebody's ringing my doorbell. Yeah. That's what. No, when I say it's not that bad, I mean 4 minutes and 45 seconds of racism. I mean, there's been weeks where I've had to cut you off at 10 minutes.
True. Very true. All right. Well, I guess in that case, maybe you have a point there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at it not in terms of the degree of racism. I'm just talking about the quantity.
Okay.
I mean, racism of any type is bad. It's wrong. But the fact that we were not forced to listen to 10 minutes of you talking about terrible behavior by Americans towards others.
All right. Fair enough. Then I guess let's just move on then. Let's just move on and get to
let's move on.
Beef of the week.
Yes.
Ron and Brian's Beef of the Week.
All right. Brian.
All right. You know, I can't really say much bothered me.
Okay.
However, I will say that the worst thing that happened to me this week was that I went Black Friday shopping in Manhattan. As I mentioned earlier, my family was in town, my nieces and nephew, along with my sister. And we went into Manhattan on Black Friday. We left early. It was like 8 o'clock. We were already on the subway, maybe 8:15 or whatnot. So, you know, the girls wanted to get in early ahead of time. Unfortunately, I will say that, you know, it was, I did not see any bad behavior by shoppers. It was just the pure fact that by, I would say about 11 o'clock or so, the streets really started to get crowded with people shopping, people with ludicrous amounts of bags just bumping into people. And that was when my mood started to change. I started to get very irritable. Also, I was shocked at the number of stores in Soho, which is a popular area in Manhattan. The number of stores that did not have chairs or benches or stools for men to sit down on while their better halves were doing the shopping. That was something that I was quite upset about.
As you should be.
I found myself having a stand for a long periods of time while holding bags. Not happy. Ron, what was your beef of the week?
So my beef this week, Brian, is with Netflix and their part in being responsible for bringing to the screen the Jonas Brothers family roast, which I watched. I figured, hey, you know, maybe this would be a good roast. I saw Pete Davidson in the clips. I'm like, all right, Pete Davidson is good at the roast. Brian, it got to a point where like 5-10 minutes in, I realized how bad this was going to be. And I wanted to stick it out for the entire, however long it was, to see just how terrible it could be. And it was an embarrassment to all roasts out there. It was just the most generic, middle of the road jokes. Each of their wives had an opportunity to roast them, which was just very lame. And even Pete Davidson, who normally is vicious on roasts, was not good. Like, you know how like when Pete's in a skit on SNL and he knows it's bad, you can tell by the way that he's delivering his lines.
Sure,
is this your shit?
Sure,
that was
he'll tank it.
Most of this roast.
Okay.
If you
first
want
up,
to recap, Nick Jonas. These are the jokes, basically the synopsis. Nick Jonas broke up the band to be an actor, even though he's a horrible actor, but was into Jumanjis. Joe Jonas apparently acted in something called Camp Rock and formed a band called Dance or DNCE, something like that. And Kevin Jonas is the Jonas brother that nobody knows. So
I don't know who are the two. Okay. One of them married the girl from Game of Thrones.
That would be Joe Jonas.
Another one married a chef.
That might be Kevin, because Nick is married to an actress. I believe a Bollywood actress.
Oh, that's Ona. I thought she was the chef. I get her mixed up with
Padme Lakshmi from Top Chef.
I thought they were the same person. I thought that's who he had married. I'm going to say that I don't know any of I don't know anything about the Jonas Brothers, so I'm not sure I would get any of the references other than the fact that they were a boy band. If I'm not correct, South Park. That was one thing I wanted to watch this week. I wanted to watch that. Yeah, I'm questioning your decision to even put that on.
No, I agree. I did watch South Park. Should we just get to what we're watching? Just roll out a beef.
Sure.
And talk about.
Sure. Yeah. We just kind of rolled into that. So you watched the terrible. First off, the fact that it wasn't a Comedy Central production says to me that it's going to be bad.
Right.
Because it's yeah. And I thought that the Comedy Central roast had already gotten tired. It just started to feel random that who they were picking and who they were putting on the dais.
But
it started off, it was funny.
Does some edgy comedy, like they have, they'll have Anthony Jeselnik on, they'll do stuff with Dave Chappelle. So I thought maybe this would have a little harder edge to it. It did not. It was very milquetoast.
How many minutes into the show did you realize that you had made a terrible mistake?
Easily within the first 5 minutes.
Okay.
Easily.
Okay.
And yes, I did also watch the South Park post-COVID special, which is on the Paramount Plus network.
Now, if somebody out there wants to, if I have a friend out there who wants to send me their login information for Paramount Plus so I can watch it, because I currently am refusing. I'm holding the line at Paramount Plus. I'm refusing to sign up for that. It is not. I've got enough streaming services.
Well, I'll be canceling Paramount Plus in 3 days. Actually, 2 days. Because I signed up for the free trial just to watch the new Paranormal Activity movie on Halloween. And then I was like, oh, well, let me just cancel this. And then they were like, no, don't go. We'll give you a full month for free. All right.
Really?
I'll take it. But yeah, the South Park episode, it was not good. And again, I have not watched South Park in a few years, so I don't know if they
haven't been on.
Of what they had become.
Right.
It was a few very basic jokes that they just drove into the ground. Like the premise is that it's 40 years in the future and we've finally beaten the pandemic. And all the South Park kids are 50 years old. But it's they go over the top. They're trying to spoof how if things are done in the future, how it's a lot of the things in those type of movies and shows are very over the top to tell you that they're in the future.
Okay. See, I always find here's our characters in the future. That is always, to me, the kiss of death.
Yeah.
It's not I remember, I think it was Parks and Recreation for their last season skipped forward 10 years.
Oh yeah.
And I just remember watching and be like, this is terrible. And I thought it was an awful way to end out a series that I actually had enjoyed. So I did not realize that South Park this is them in the future.
It was, yeah. I was not entertained. I did not think there was all that much good about it. I think this.
Yeah, that's a shame.
This might be the death knell for South Park.
Well, I thought that the fact that they put it on Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
I thought that was pretty. Putting it behind the paywall, when I see entertainers putting their wares, their primo content behind the paywall, I find it very upsetting. Usually it's a sign that, speaking of which, we've got our Pajama Party coming up in just over an hour. If you are watching this live right now, become a patron. That is 75 cents right now going to our friends over at StreamYard. Once a month on the last Sunday of the month, we do what we like to call a pajama party. And that is, we invite all of our patrons onto the show that are at a bronze or higher level for just $10 a month. You get 30 minutes of content every week. Spicy stuff, sexy stuff, raunchy. It's where we put stuff behind the paywall because, we know it's going to be premium. Tonight, the last Sunday, this is our Thanksgiving edition 2021 Pajama Party. We will be playing Can You Beat Ron?
One more time. Can people beat me? I don't think they can.
Where if people do better than Ron, we will make a $25 donation to a charity of their choice. And in past months, we did horror movie taglines. Nobody beat Ron. The previous month, we did movie soundtrack songs from the 80s. Nobody beat Ron. Today, we've got a super secret. Ron.
I'm not even
aware. Ron's not even aware. I haven't told anyone. I did this myself. It will be a surprise. But it will be in the theme of the times. So join our Patreon, spend a little money, support the show. You're enjoying it right now. Someone's got to pay for this video feed. Someone's got to pay for this beer. Instead of me, let it be you. Join our Patreon.
So Brian, what were you watching this week?
I finished watching Tiger King season 2.
And how was
which
that?
Actually got worse after the first 2 episodes.
Really?
There's a total of 5 episodes. So the first episode, they really spend time talking about Joe Exotic, who was really the hero of the first season. The first season. It was just, we all wanted to talk about Joe Exotic. Then we kind of got introduced to Carol Baskin, blah, 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 some other people. So in season 2, we spent a very short period of time talking about Joe Exotic. The dude's still in prison. And obviously they can't go in and visit him. So, there's some shitty, poor quality video conference from calls that he's making. Then we get a slight update on his court trials that are going on. Then it just takes this weird turn into Carol Baskin and the way the police and the sheriff in Florida are looking into her first husband's disappearance. So then they start, then that goes off onto a tangent. Then they bring it back. They start introducing new animal owners. We spent some time with Jeff Lowe and his wife. Overall, it literally, it lacked everything that was good about season 1, to the point where you had absolutely no interest in what was going to become of these people. So I said, absolutely, this is garbage. Feel free to skip it. I also started watching F is for Family on Netflix, season 5, the final season. We all know I'm a big Bill Burr fan.
Yes.
So I've enjoyed this show. I'm a couple episodes in, enjoying it. Not as good as the first few seasons.
All right. I finished Hellbound. Finished the last few episodes of that.
Hellbound. Sorry.
Would highly recommend it. Ended in
what
a
was
bit
Hellbound
of
again? That's with Ron Perlman, where he's got the 2 bolts coming out of his head.
That's Hellboy. This is Hellbound. So basically, it's a TV show based on an alternate reality where angels will summon you to hell, and you get like these creatures pop out of the earth and like burn you and bring you to hell.
Is this the South Korean show?
It is, yes.
Okay, yes.
So
I only watched Squid Game.
It ends on a bit of a cliffhanger, but it's a pretty solid season. Watched the first 2 episodes of the new Marvel TV show Hawkeye on Disney Plus. Not bad. The first episode was a little slow. Second, picked up a little bit. So we'll see. It's 6 episodes. They'll release the remaining 4 a week at a time. And, it's good. I had been considering canceling my Disney Plus subscription. I didn't know that I was necessarily getting my money's worth. So the fact that Hawkeye has rolled out really makes it worth what I'm putting out there. Yes, Brian. Yes.
Did you say you were thinking about canceling your Disney Plus?
I was thinking of it. I was like, there hasn't been a ton of new content lately. Oh, and you know what else I watched on Disney Plus was that Beatles,
on your account, your login,
on my
right?
account. Was that Beatles Get Back documentary?
Oh, yeah. How was that? I heard it was good.
Boring. And I love the Beatles, but so it's all this footage they shot for like the 2 weeks leading up to this live recording and broadcast of the Get Back album. But they really just literally play a lot of these recordings just as they happen. So it's a lot of them just literally sitting around and, maybe we should go get some of these songs from when we were the Quarrymen. Fill this in. Oh, Governor, what do you think of this? I mean, none of them really said Governor, but I just feel like maybe they should.
No. It added to this. It added some authenticity to your while you were spinning your tail.
What is interesting, I only watched about a half hour of it, but the fact that like Yoko Ono is literally hanging over the entire group while they're recording the music, like you get why the rest of the band got kind of annoyed.
Yes. Well, she basically became the fifth member.
Yes.
But I've also heard that what?
No, go ahead. Whatever you're going to say. I was going to
no,
another show I'm watching, but if you
no. I interrupt you enough. You get to interrupt me more. What?
Billy mentioned that he started watching the reunion of the second cast of The Real World, also on Paramount Plus. I started watching season 1 of that, where they had a reunion of the original New York cast. Actually,
slow down.
Interesting. Yes.
So they're now they're reuniting the first cast or the second cast.
They did both. So this is 2 seasons now. So the first season, they reunited the cast of New York City, the very first season, and now the second season they do in a reunion of the LA cast.
I don't think I ever watched the LA one. I think I watched New York.
Okay.
I think I watched the New York one. That was the one. Didn't one of the guys die?
That was San Francisco. Pedro from San Francisco died.
Yes. I watched San Francisco, but why do I not remember Los Angeles?
I don't know. I think if you watched the first episode, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember this now.
Yeah, no, I remember there was one season with Puck.
That was also San Francisco. Season 3.
And I remember the New York season. Okay.
Well, I would maybe if someone gives you a Paramount Plus login, you can potentially check out those seasons.
I've put it out there. Let's see if anybody, if any of my friends who have logins that may expire in the next couple days, if any of these friends want to repay favors that have been done for them.
And I also tried watching the movie Last Night in Soho, which was just ridiculously boring.
Oh, I heard that was terrible.
It was. No, I can.
Yeah, I heard that was terrible.
For that. I got 20 minutes in, and I'm like, this movie has no direction. And it's kind of a what you're watching follow up. We had watched the Netflix show Squid Game.
Yes.
And apparently, North Korea does not want their people watching that show. There was a report that came out that said that a man who had smuggled and sold the show inside North Korea had been sentenced to death by firing squad. There was also a high schooler who bought a USB drive containing the show who has been sentenced to life in prison. And then another 6 high schoolers who watched the show were said to be sentenced to 5 years of hard labor. Their supervisors were also said to be punished, with teachers and school administrators fired, possibly to be banished to work in remote mines.
Really?
Yes. So don't watch Squid Game if you're in North Korea. It is a good movie, but I don't know that it's worth working in the salt mines for the rest of your life.
Yeah, well, do they even have salt mines there?
I'm possibly. Where does salt come from, Brian? I have no idea.
Wow. You sound so angry there.
Do I?
Yeah. I feel like deep down inside, you are how do I put it this way? I feel like deep down, you are wishing that you were in North Korea living in a salt mine.
I mean, it would be a peaceful, quiet way of life, without a doubt.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
All right,
but can you imagine a world where, like, if you get caught with a TV show in your pocket, you're going to be executed?
I can't, but I would say if you are caught with a recording of the Jonas family roast, perhaps you should be put to death.
Or what if you just publicly admit that you watched the Jonas family roast?
That's a stoning right there. You should get stoned. Maybe not to death, just a severe injury.
Yeah.
Just a thought.
I would agree with that.
Can I play this video for you, Brian, that I watched this week, and it's still crazier than I can imagine, by religious author Sharon Gilbert.
She's good. She's good. She's one of my favorites.
She was appearing on the Jim Baker show and was talking about an alien who visited her in the form of her husband and asked to have sex with her.
After Derek and I got married, one night, this other Derek appears in our bed. The real Derek is lying down next to me. Other Derek sits right up out of him. It startled me. I knew that was not Derek. And so I asked this critter, "Who are you?" Because he clearly wanted to have sexual relations. And he said, "Come on, I'm your husband." I said, "Who are you?" And he had the nerve to claim to be Ahasuerus.
Xerxes.
Well, other Derek seriously wanted to invite me to use my free will to do something that was going to pull me away from God.
Anal sex.
So this last time, I knew he was really desperate.
Oh, yeah.
And I asked him again, "Who are you?" He told me the same answer. And I said, "I'm not going with you." This was an internal dialogue. Finally, I said, "I've had enough." In my mind, I reached up. I grabbed his face. And I said, "You are a liar. And Jesus is real." And I pulled that face off. And beneath it was a reptile. And he had little creatures with him this time. He brought these little halfling creatures, and they looked like, I don't know, gargoyles. They were very reptilian as well. So beneath that face of Derek was a reptilian serpentine creature, probably similar to what was visiting the Anasazi.
Wow. Well, the Bible says.
I like it at the end. Wow.
Well, you could just see the guy on the left was literally just crawling out of his skin from discomfort, having to listen to this woman tell the story as if she's being truthful. Could not wait to get away from her. Wow.
Oh, that's
now, Ron, I have a question for you.
Yes.
And I'm just asking you, your gut, your impression.
Okay.
Do you think that she's lying? Do you think she's making this up and intentionally just saying stuff that is a lie? Do you think that there's some type of mental disorder where she believes it's true, even though this isn't true? Do you think that she's just like, there's a script that somebody has written, prepared for her, and is asking her? Because there's no way that this is real. There's no way that a body double of her husband exited his body, and she pulled off its face to disclose a reptilian face along with little critters next to it. I mean, there's no way that shit's just took place.
I mean, it sounds like someone who's trying to hide the fact that maybe he is hiding his reptilian face under a human mask.
You mean me?
No. I will say probably some mental issues there. I think maybe she had a dream and was unable to differentiate a dream from reality, and then just it makes a good story at the end of the day.
I wonder if she is QAnon.
It's a very valid question.
I saw a video this week. QAnon people are still hanging out in Dealey Plaza waiting for JFK Jr. to arrive.
Yeah, it's still down there.
And the video was of them singing "We Are the World." Like, it's just like I genuinely believe, and this is one of the areas where I think the internet has failed us, is that by automatically handing a platform to just anybody, ignore the fact that we have a platform and are abusing it right now. But it's basically just handed a platform to anyone where, it's broken down the barriers to entry to be able to actually like qualify or to be worthy of having a platform. But like I feel like it has allowed just this level of belief in falsities. Is that a word? Falsities?
Yes, it is.
Falsehoods. That's one I was.
Better word.
Let's go with falsehoods. But this level of belief in falsehoods, that I was talking to somebody recently who was talking about spending time doing their own research on YouTube and was just spewing these beliefs of what's going to happen. Like everything is now now it's to the point where all these things are predetermined and they are going to make this happen in 10 months. These things are going to happen in the next year. It's all leading up to this. And it's just the level of nut jobs that are out there now seems to have multiplied. And I don't know whether it's actually because they feel validated or if it's just the internet making you feel that this is the way, even though it's just really just the fact that you're being exposed to more of the nut jobs than you used to.
Could be a little of both.
You just so dismissed everything I just said. I fucking love it. I fucking love it. The level of disdain that you just showed for me for the last 4 minutes of what I said. Could be a little both. Okay. Anyway, moving on. All right. That's enough.
I think the challenge with stuff like that is, and not just on the internet, but just in media in general, like they will put this message out there, or they'll speak to these people and like give like a sly wink, like, oh yeah, we know this person's crazy, but they won't ever like question what that person is saying. Like they won't drill down into it.
And they'll never say you're crazy. Like there's no way this could be true. They just go, okay, and you believe this. They'll do this. Wow. And then they'll move on and just keep talking about something else.
Right.
It's fucking, I feel like the world's gotten worse. Getting worse, Ron. Speaking of the world getting worse.
Oh boy, here it is.
Got one word for you.
Is it
Omicron? Omicron, my friend, Ron. There's the new COVID variant that is spreading all over the world. Started in South Africa, so we're no longer blaming the Chinese anymore. Fake news. Now we're blaming South Africa for this variant that has now got the entire world freaked out. Please explain to me, Ron, what is going on here?
All right. So the reason that people are worried about the Omicron variant is due to the mutations in the spike protein. It has a higher number of variations than the Delta variant, which is why the Delta variant was so transmissible. It has about double the amount. I think they said like 32 variations in the spike protein.
How does variations correlate to increased transmissibility?
So basically, the spike proteins are the proteins that your body detects if you have been vaccinated or if you have antibodies from having COVID before. The spike protein is what your body picks up on and then starts to defend your body against the infection. When the spike protein mutates, it heightens the possibility that your body will no longer recognize that spike protein when it gets into your body, making it easier for you to get infected with the virus.
So the fear here is that this variant will be able to go into will overpower the antibodies that people who have naturally been infected and or people who have received the vaccines. The fear is that this variant will be so powerful that people who have been vaccinated will have no protection against it.
Not a matter of overpowering the antibodies. It'll literally be a case of the antibodies won't recognize the spike protein as a threat, and therefore will not try to eliminate it if it's in your body.
But we don't know that that's true, correct?
You don't know if that's true yet. But I mean, if it follows the path of the Delta variant, it could very possibly be more transmissible. But since they have just really, found it, they have to start researching it. But we are starting to already see, across the globe, people starting to get worried about it. I know Israel has banned foreigners from entering the country. I know the United States is blocking certain countries from coming in. I believe we have a travel ban on travelers from Africa starting tomorrow. So it's
already in Canada. Okay, this is the part that's really irking me. Yes, irk. I did use that word. We live in a global economy. There are people flying across the globe from country to country, banning people from Africa but allowing people from Europe. Doesn't make sense to me if you're trying to keep this variant out, because people from Africa are going to be going to Europe. People from Europe are going to be going to Asia. People from Asia are going to go to North America. Like, if you're not going to ban everybody, what's the point of banning somebody? Because it's already spread. It's already been found in Europe, but we're still letting Europeans in, but we're not going to be letting Africans in.
No, agreed. It doesn't make a ton of sense. I mean, again, it
makes no sense to me.
It did originate in South Africa, and that is where the highest amount of cases are. But the UK...
Time out. It was identified in Africa.
Correct.
The South African researchers were the ones that were able to identify this variant. That doesn't mean that it originated there. It just means that their researchers were able to see a spike in cases and figured out what was going on. It could have originated anywhere.
It's possible. I mean, at this point, they've got 2 cases in the United Kingdom. They've got cases now in Germany and Italy, and then also Belgium, Israel, and Hong Kong are now reporting that the variant has been found. So yeah, to your point, if we're allowing people from those countries in, there is obviously the very real possibility that we could be letting this Omicron variant, or Omicron, I don't know how you say it.
Listen,
I know you don't.
It's Omicron. I mean, let's if we can rewind and go back to March of 2020, when New York City was hit with the first wave. Why did you smile?
Because I feel like this is your way of you haven't been able to talk about refrigerated trucks or forklifts in a while. So I feel this is your way of bringing that back into the conversation.
Right. That's exactly where I was going, but okay.
Fair enough.
But if you go back to the first wave, everybody was obsessed with banning flights from Asia and China from coming into America. And, we made such a big deal patting ourselves on the back, how we stopped flights coming in from China, but we were letting all the Europeans in, and the Europeans are the ones that brought COVID onto the East Coast. If you look at the strain of COVID that was predominant here in New York in March of 2020, I myself was affected and have naturally induced antibodies, naturally formed antibodies. That was all coming in from Europe. So it's like, if we banned this country, but we let that one in, we're letting this variant in. So the way I see it is, you either lock everybody out or you lock nobody out, because in effect, you can't have anything halfway done. It doesn't make sense. I don't buy it.
There you go.
Speaking of buying, if you would like to buy a membership in our Patreon, go to our website, ronandbrianpodcast.com. Click the button in the upper right-hand corner that says Become a Patron. It'll take you to our site on Patreon. For as little as $5 a month, you can help support this show, which is providing you such great high levels of entertainment. You can help me buy more shitty beer. This is disgusting, by the way. I have another one I'm going to have to drink because I got 2 of these. Yeah, become a patron. And you can watch if you're following this live, you can join if you come in at the bronze or higher level for just $10 a month. That's less than $2.50 a week. You can come on and join our Pajama Party, which is later tonight, last Sunday of every month. All of our $10 or higher bronze level patron subscribers come on the show. We shoot the shit. We play Can You Beat Ron? I may expose myself. Well, we won't know.
Who knows? But we will be keeping an eye on this Omicron variant, seeing how it spreads. The thing to keep in mind is that the reason these variants keep popping up is because of the large number of unvaccinated people that still exist across the globe, because these are the people that get sick, and this is how the variants form by people getting sick and their body changing the code of the virus.
I don't. Has that been proven?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. No. Hold on. Where has that been proven? Because they've also shown that vaccinated people can pass the disease.
Correct.
So in theory, can't a virus would just inherently mutate by itself?
It mutates when it jumps from
everything mutates.
Person. If you are vaccinated, you don't have the same reaction to the virus as an unvaccinated person does, and that is one.
I'm not sure you're right on that one, Ron. I know you want to bash the unvaccinated. I want to bash the unvaccinated. I want to talk about Dr. Robin Murphy whenever we get a chance, simply to post both the photo. But I don't believe that you can blame mutations on the unvaccinated.
Listen, we don't want to cast aspersions in any way, shape, or form against those who are not vaccinated. But that being said, it's time for Dead Anti-Vaxxer of the Week.
Dead Anti-Vaxxer of the Week.
Brian, who is your Dead Anti-Vaxxer of the Week this week?
We're going to the medical field. And I use, Jesus Christ, it's the Grim Reaper himself, Dr. Robin Murphy, age 71. Let me tell you something, ladies and gentlemen. That man on the right will never live to see 72. And you know why? Because he is my candidate for Dead Vaxxer of the Week. You're looking at Dr. Robin Murphy, who is a homeopathic doctor. Now, a lot of people are wondering what homeopathic doctors are. They are to flat earthers what flat earthers are to astronomy. They believe in homemade remedies. They make ivermectin look legitimate. He wrote a couple standard texts in the field of homeopathy. Homeopathy,
correct.
Homeopathic medical repertory, and his other novel book, which was Lotus Materiae Medica. He gave a talk as recently as March where he was pushing homeopathic treatments for COVID-19, which he claimed he could prove to have been cures for COVID-19. Unfortunately, earlier this month in November, Dr. Robin Murphy in North Dakota checked into the hospital with pneumonia. His followers were aghast as they were shocked that none of his the homeopathic cures that he had promoted seemed to have helped cure his COVID-19. Checked into the hospital, passed away of pneumonia on November 18th. Ron, I present to you Dr. Robin Murphy as my candidate for Dead Vaxxer of the Week. Dead Anti-Vaxxer of the Week. Ooh.
I got to say, I'm a little surprised those choppers of his didn't block the COVID disease either. Those are some teeth.
I would pay $10 to watch that man eat a carrot.
Well, unfortunately, you can't, because he is your Dead Anti-Vaxxer of the Week. But Brian, if I may present to you a gentleman by the name of Kevin Stevens, age 50, from Independence, Missouri. He wore sunglasses, so he was all right with some forms of protection, but not others. He was a solid anti-vaxxer, making numerous posts on his social media how the government was forcing people to wear masks and get vaccines, and if you didn't want to be friends with him because of it, that was fine. Not surprisingly, he ends up losing his job over the vaccine mandate. Also sold his body armor after he lost his job, so I'm not quite sure what happened. But he went quickly. 10 days after losing his job for not getting vaccinated, he died from COVID-19.
Is that a post and bombing photo?
It possibly could be. I'm not 100% certain. He does not look that alive.
What really looks bad in this photo, and I think it's one of the things I'm picking up on, is the amount of real estate that's the little amount of real estate from his nose to his chin by comparison to the amount of space on his forehead.
And he also appears to have no neck.
Like it looks like somebody smushed the top portion of his head and then stretched the top of it up.
That's what COVID can do to you, my friend. That is what COVID is. So that's why you got to be careful. And that's why these folks are dead anti-vaxxers of the week.
Dead Anti-Vaxxer of the week.
Brian, let's try and bring the mood back up. I know sometimes people can get down for dead anti-vaxxer of the week. So let me, if I may, kind of pump you up a little bit by congratulating you on your fantastic performance again in NFL Locks of the Week. I mean, good Lord, my friend, last week, normally you are so down on the New York Jets. They were 3-point underdogs against the Houston Texans, but you were like, you know what? I feel like this might be their week. And sure enough, the New York Jets win the game outright, 21-14. And then you've got the Niners. They were taking on Minnesota, -2.5. You took the Niners. Wise choice again. Niners win 34-26. Again, improving you to a solid 24-0 on the season. I don't know how you do it. It's literally getting into miracle territory.
Ron, if there's anything that would dilute that miracle is the fact that you are standing side by side with me, unbeaten through week 12. This once again, you have an uncanny ability to look at the NFL games and just spot two easy wins. You saw the Cowboys laying 7 over the Raiders. You said the Raiders are going to win the whole game. I don't need those 7 points. Raiders win 36-33. Then the Eagles -3 at the Giants. You said this is a home team that cannot lose. Giants win 13-7. Ron, who do you have in week 13?
All right, for this upcoming week, I like Denver. They're on the road at Kansas City. They're getting 9.5 points. They had a big win today against the Chargers. The Chiefs have not been having a great season. I like Denver plus 9.5. And then Washington is going to Las Vegas. Vegas is giving 2.5 points. Love that line. Take the Raiders minus the 2.5. Ryan, who do you like?
I don't think the Giants can win 2 in a row. Dolphins -2.5 over the Giants. Colts -7 over Houston. If the Jets can make the Houston look terrible, the Colts will make them look atrocious.
All right, sounds good. So that's NFL Locks of the Week. Speaking of money, Brian, speaking of losing money, which we don't do on the NFL Locks of the Week, but we haven't jumped over to the stock market lately. Let's see what happened on Friday.
Stonks.
So the news of the Omicron variant not only made people sick, made the stock market very unwell as the Dow Jones tanked more than 900 points Friday, closing 905 points or 2.5% down, its worst day of the year. The S&P 500 was down 2.3%, and the NASDAQ was down 2.2%. Really took hits in airlines, cruise lines, hotels. Really got beat up. Stay-at-home stocks like Peloton and Zoom, they surged again, and then any pharmaceutical tied for drugs treating COVID-19 surged. But overall, stock market took a beating going into the end of November. Brian, how did your portfolio fare on Friday?
Not well. Lost somewhere in the range of 3%. And my 401k took a hit. I will now not be able to retire at age 65 as I had planned. And my labor smart stock still holding strong to the moon.
All right. Also, crazy week this week as a fan at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn at WWE Raw attacked WWE star Seth Rollins as he walked back from his match. Was not caught on TV, but a number of people attending it posted their videos on Twitter. The guy, I forget his exact name, he gets arrested. And it turns out he had been catfished by somebody claiming to be Seth Rollins over the last couple of years, had sent him like a few $100s to start some business. So this guy clearly felt he had a legitimate beef with Seth Rollins and took it to him in person. So now he is going to be charged with a few charges of assault and attack. And I believe he's been banned from all future WWE live events.
Well, yeah. Well, how do I put this mildly? You had a guy who believed that he was talking to a wrestler, sent lots of money to the wrestler, thinking that this wrestler needed his financial support. It's Brooklyn. I mean, Brooklyn and wrestling is not known for how do I put this mildly, a good behavior.
Right.
I mean, it's just not good at all.
I also like how the crowd, after security was taking him away, was chanting "fuck him up." That's also that's very Brooklyn.
Well, I mean, can you blame him?
I cannot. I definitely cannot. Brian, we apparently also had a number of celebrities that left us this past week. Should we kind of give
this one hurts
a rundown? Yeah. And because especially since you just finished season 2 of the show, appropriately enough, Jeff Johnson from the Tiger King passing away at the age of 58. Brian, do we know what took him out?
Heart attack, alcoholism, COVID.
I think alcoholism was the other guy.
I don't know this guy. Who was this guy? How was he in Tiger King? I don't remember him.
I'm not quite sure. I just know that he was tied into Tiger King somehow.
I will say this about him. First off, I support the neckline on that T-shirt. That is a strong neckline. Do you see a complete lack of neck coverage there? It's very high up. I love that. Also, I admire the fold of his baseball cap.
Okay.
I don't know this man whatsoever from Tiger King. I'm unaware that he was actually on the show, but darn it, do I want a baseball cap with that kind of fold?
Fair enough. Well, Christmas is coming and Hanukkah is here right now, so maybe you will get that.
Happy Chanukah.
Also passing away, designer Virgil Abloh, passing away at the very young age of 41. We've got a picture of him here.
Yep.
Brian,
Louis Vuitton, wasn't he? Hadn't he designed a lot of Louis Vuitton?
He had done a lot of Louis Vuitton. Again, you are very much a what I would call a fashion maven. So
my closet would not be what it is right now if it weren't for him.
That is some high praise. I mean, so you're saying he was also a lover of the high neckline?
Look at that neckline. You're absolutely goddamn correct. See, these are the kind of things that you pick up on, but I wish I could.
So passing away at the very young age of 41. So we say goodbye to him.
It's a shame.
Do we have here that passed away? Oh, for you sports fans out there, former Astros closer Doug Jones passing away at the age of, what age was he, Brian? He was in his 60s.
He was 62.
62, passing away from COVID complications. One of the all-time Houston Astro pitching greats as far as a closer perspective, and really an all-time mustache great as well. I mean, geez,
that's a great. That is a good-looking mustache.
I mean, that's just. I just need to drink that in for a minute. Hold on a second.
Take that in, absorb it. Look at that thing.
Wow.
He does look like the kind of guy that would roll into a tavern and ask for a beer and a shot.
Yeah, without a doubt. And then drop the shot in the beer and drink the whole thing down.
Yeah.
Like a real man would.
And then use the F slur to what do you call it? To insult one of the other bar patrons.
There you go. Well, Doug Jones.
Now that's allegedly. I'm not saying he did that. I'm just saying allegedly. He looks like somebody that would do that.
Now, this was kind of a brutal passing. I wasn't quite familiar with this guy. Apparently, he was on. Name is Thomas Wells. He was on the X Factor. He had done America's Got Talent. He had competed.
So talented.
Competed on The Voice. Passing away after a gruesome accident in a tire factory earlier this month when he was caught in an automatic conveyor belt, which did not stop. Pulled into the machinery, airlifted to a Texas hospital, but did not survive. So leaving behind a wife, Jessica Wells. Brutal way to go, though. Brutal way.
Well, the worst thing is first off, you go to work, bye, hon, I'm off to work, and then you die at work. But a conveyor belt gives you the implied death where like there was a struggle. You didn't just like fall into a vat of acid and immediately die. You weren't like crushed immediately, but like your arm got like chewed up and it was like, and you're like trying to pull on it and you pull, and like your coworkers are trying, and then like, they slip a little bit and you just get sucked into the machine. Yeah, that sounds like some scary shit. Like, I don't worry when I go to work that I'm going to die standing at a desk. Like, it's not a worry of mine.
Right. Let's hope. And this one, I mean, this hurt. There's no other way to put it. Passing away at the age of 91, the master of modern theater on Broadway, Stephen Sondheim, dying suddenly, again, at the age of 91. I mean,
no offense. Stop right now, Ron. If you're going to pretend that you were such a big fan of Stephen Sondheim, Sondheim. Name 5 songs that he sang. Name 5 songs that he wrote.
Well, Send in the Clowns was one. West Side.
Send in the Clowns.
He wrote the lyrics for all of West Side Story. I mean, come on. Sweeney Todd, Gypsy. I mean, come on now. The man won an Oscar, a Pulitzer, 8 Grammys, 8 Tonys, a Kennedy Center honor, and the Presidential Medal of Freedom.
That looks like a loose neckline is all I'm trying to say. That neckline does not look like he looks like he's got a couple buttons done on that shirt.
He does.
Okay, so he wrote some good songs. I'll give him that. He wrote some good stuff.
Sinatra used to do a very good version of Send in the Clowns.
No.
Yes. He slowed it down, made it soulful.
Really?
Sinatra. Frank, chairman of the board. Who else? Oh, someone who does not make songs soulful is Kid Rock, who recently released a new song called Don't Tell Me How to Live, which is basically a right-wing anthem calling people snowflakes and talking about, how he's a wild man. And it's he got roasted on the internet because he put out a 4-minute video wearing a red hat that says "Make America Kid Rock Again."
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah, yes. I don't get the anger from a man who has that much money and nothing to do with his life but just hang out and enjoy it.
Well, I think that it's part of he's placating to his audience. I mean, he is trying to be a spokesperson for the I don't want to say for the far right, but for the uneducated right. He wants to be the musician for the people that listen to their gut and they don't read about facts and they don't care about science, but they want to drink Bud Light and party.
Would you like to hear some lyrics, Brian?
Only if it rhymes with ba with a ba, the bang a dang, diggy diggy, check it up with the voodoo.
A little less pretty, but I sling more dick. I twang more riffs. I slide through grass. I whip more lines than a 10-pound bass. Pass the mic. I'm like slow gin fizz.
Yeah. Okay. That doesn't say anything. What does that have to do with?
I think my favorite comment on that was when Weird Al Yankovic tweeted to everyone that's congratulating me right now on my new Kid Rock parody video. Let me clarify, that's not me. It's actually Kid Rock.
That I think just closed the book on the whole debate.
Yeah,
it just makes you realize what a parody of Kid Rock has become. But so be it. To each their own. Ron, do you have anything else?
I mean, we've said a lot. We've covered a lot.
I got to prepare for the Pajama Party.
Very true. Which again, we don't want to beat this to death, but we will a little bit. If you go to ronandbrianpodcast.com in the upper right-hand corner, click on Become a Patron, join Patreon at bronze level or higher. You will get a link to join us on After Dark. It's the last Sunday of the month. So that means it's our listener pajama party where you get to come on air with us and attempt to beat me in a trivia contest of Brian's choosing. And if you can do that, we will donate $25 to the charity of your choice. No one has been able to do that yet. No one has collected this money. I don't even know what the category is. We will all learn the category in a mere 22 minutes. So if you go and you sign up right now, we will get you that link. We will get you on the Pajama Party tonight. Brian, anything additional before we roll on out of here and get ready for After Dark?
Not at all. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone. It is past. It is now on to the Christmas holiday season. Happy Hanukkah to all of my Jewish followers. Happy Kwanzaa to my upcoming African followers. Merry Christmas to all of my Christian followers. But I think I would prefer if you all followed me over to Patreon, where you can watch our Pajama Party in 22 minutes. We're going live. You still have time to join. As little as $10 a month. Help support this podcast. Love you, Ron, and I love you out there watching this show.
All right. Love you too, my friend. Love all of our listeners. So if we don't see you on the Patreon, we will see you all next week.
Thank you for joining us on the Ron and Brian podcast. We're live each week on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. You can find prior episodes, links to our social media, and everything else Ron and Brian at ronandbrianpodcast.com.